Hi, and welcome. This is Maria. I'm here today to just talk about and string together the videos we took of Mom's 90th birthday celebration last month in Seattle. Her birthday was on a Thursday, the 15th of November. Mike and I flew in on Monday. Steve and Eve flew in on Wednesday night. Her big day was Thursday. We departed on Friday, and Steve and Eve thankfully stayed through Thanksgiving the following week and then flew back to New Jersey. We had a great time, and we're going to just show a couple pictures from the week, and then the highlight are the videos that we took on her day. So sit back, relax, and enjoy, and let's continue the celebration, and we give thanks to God for this long life of Mom, of Grandma, and we pray that He continues to sustain her both bodily and emotionally, and most importantly, spiritually. Grandma and Mom's niece Terry sent these flowers, and they were beautiful, and she was really pleased. Thank you, Jenny, for all your support in tracking the guest list for Mom's party. Videoing you. All right, go ahead.
On your 90th birthday, Mom, your children have gotten together and, with Maria's leadership and technical expertise, put together this book that contains lots and lots of photographs from your entire life, going as far back as we could think. And there's also other documents and artifacts in there, all the way down to your great-grandkids who have contributed. So everyone has contributed to this. So happy birthday, Mom.
Thank you all so much. Oh, lovely.
To introduce myself, I'm Michael Cochran. I'm Terry's oldest son, and I wanted to introduce the rest of the family. My brother Stephen and his wife Eve over there in the corner. They flew in from Princeton, New Jersey last night just to get away from the snowstorm, get to better weather. And my lovely wife Maria is videoing this entire affair. And, so on behalf of the family, we'd like to welcome you to this little birthday get-together for my mom, Terry, and thank you all for coming. Just, very informally, there's cake, and so in a couple of minutes, we're going to lead everyone in a round of happy birthday, and you can come up, and after Mom cuts the official first slice of the cake, then everyone is welcome to get some. We also have some Prosecco, very light Italian sparkling wine there, if you'd like some while you get a piece of cake. We also have water and decaf and regular coffee for your dining pleasure. And for those folks that don't feel like they can get up to get a glass of champagne, we'd be happy to bring it to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Terry. Happy birthday to you.
I'm really honored that you came, and I so appreciate my friends being here. And I so appreciate my family being able to be here because they're on the East Coast, and they made all these arrangements without my knowing anything about it. And, I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but thank you all for coming.
I'm going to share with you a few thoughts and anecdotes and things about my mom on this special occasion.
It's called roasting.
It's completely unscripted because even though he knew about this weeks in advance, sometimes the best thing to do is just to approach it, fresh on. So Steve is doing that now. So Steve,
Be careful.
the floor is yours, brother.
Well, thank you, Michael, and thank you, all of you, for being here today. Happy birthday, Mom. And, she's nervous now because I have an open floor, I have no notes, and I have 59 years of material that I could divulge. But I actually want to make 2 toasts tonight, or this afternoon. The second will be my mother. The first is a toast to all of you. They say that family is not defined by address. It is not defined by DNA. It is defined by enduring, empathetic relationships. And those people who are there to support you in times of sorrow and to celebrate with you in times of joy. And all of you here today are part of Terry's family. And for my brother and myself, we're all on the East Coast, and so not able to be with her as often as we would like, and it means so much to us to know that she has her family here. So I want to offer a toast to Terry's family. That includes everyone seated here, and it includes those of us on the East Coast, and of course it includes my father, who I know is looking down and smiling on this occasion, and wishes that he could be here with all of you, sitting among you and laughing, but a toast to family.
To family.
He was a midshipman.
And now, some words about my mother. When we were very young, my brother and I, still in grade school, birthdays were an incredibly special time. Our mother would allow us to invite friends over on our birthdays, and she would plan a themed party with a themed cake. And she was masterful at creating different kinds of cakes that represented our interests at the times and perhaps our aspirations. And so I remember well the baseball mitt cake, chocolate cake that you created for me, Mom. I remember the following year I had a cake in the shape of a football. I was clearly seen as the athlete, and so I looked at, with some jealousy, at my brother's cake, which was, I don't know if you remember this, Michael, the rocket ship.
The rocket ship, yeah.
Yeah. In the shape of a rocket ship with astronauts all around it, and Michael was the astronaut, I was the athlete. There was one year I got a pumpkin for a cake. And I marveled at the culinary construction of a perfectly round sphere that was framed in orange icing, and then a banana for the stem with green icing on it. To this day, I'm not sure what the interest or aspiration was that she was trying to convey to me. From astronaut to athlete to large round squash. But that memory of those special birthdays and the time that she took to create those cakes made me think about, Mom, if I were to bake a cake for you. Thinking about your experiences, your interests, you know, what cake would I bake that would represent who you are? And there's lots that I could choose from. I could have started with a cake in the shape of New York, because that's where you began and then came out west. But really what first comes to mind, Mom, is a cake in the shape of the 10 Commandments. So you have to know that in the Cochran household, Bishop Cochran was not in charge. Mom was like Moses. And the rules came from above and were passed down to us. And so the cake in the 10 Commandments, it would have on it, "Thou shalt not chew gum ever. Thou shalt not wear jeans to school. Thou shalt not watch TV on school nights. Thou shalt not place a glass on the coffee table without a coaster. And then on the other side were all the thou shalts. Thou shalt clean thy room and thy bathroom every Saturday morning. And she would actually inspect with her finger going over the baseboards and the top of the door. Thou shalt set the table, thou shalt do thy homework, thou shalt practice thy clarinet, thou shalt eat thy Brussels sprouts. Thou shalt
And don't
be...
forget the liver.
And the liver! Yes! Subject to liver, that was one of my dad's favorites, liver and onions. So we learned to eat that. But here's the thing, we always ate together as a family. Thou shalt be home by 5:30 to eat together as a family. And I know when I was an admissions officer for Princeton University, and sometimes now in my role as a school superintendent, parents will talk to me and say, what can I do to raise children who really can make a difference in the world and succeed in school? And it really does come down to having dinner as a family, being able to share, to listen. Sometimes those family discussions, we had some hot debates, but we were really looking at issues in the world, which sort of leads me to the next cake shape that I would consider for you, Mom. And I actually have 5 in my mind, just so you're keeping track. The second one would be a cake in the shape, decorated like a newspaper. When I was in high school, I would finish my homework often late at night, and I would come into the TV room. Dad would have long been asleep because he got up 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning. Mom would be pretty much passed out, watching Johnny Carson would be on the TV, but the newspaper would be in her lap, and I would wake her just to kiss her goodnight, and she would say, "Oh, I have to finish the paper." And to this day, she reads the entire paper, cover to cover. She is one who wants to learn all about the world. When I was a school principal back on the East Coast, I would get clippings from her with articles about the Seattle Public Schools or what was happening in education nationally. And she is a person who wants constantly to learn. I know that she is very active here at Marabella with the Lifelong Learning Committee. And she's always been interested in her own growth as a learner and in those of others. When we were young, my mom would go to this secret society called PEO. And she refused to tell us what the letters stood for. We made up our own definitions. It was like people eating oligarchy. Because back then we didn't have Google or cell phones. And so she would never tell us, or if she did, she would have to kill us. We thought she might have been like a member of the CIA, some secret society that she would be a part of. But I did look it up, Mom, and I know that you never wanted us to know what PEO stands for. But it is, you want to tell us?
Philosophical, educational,
Philanthropical.
Philanthropic
Education organization. And what it does is it provides scholarships to help other women learn and be successful. And so that's something that that's always been an important part of her life. And the education doesn't just stop with formal schooling. Mom has always been an advocate and an aficionado of the arts. And so my third cake would be musical notes. She grew up with Frank Sinatra, so from Frank Sinatra to the Seattle Symphony. My mother loves music. The irony, of course, is that my mother can't sing all that well. And I can say that because nor can I didn't get that gene. My father sang professionally, my brother has the beautiful voice, but my mother has that appreciation of the arts and pass that along to us. My fourth cake, Mom, would be in the shape of a cathedral, of the church. She was a partner to my father. What you don't know was that every weekend my father would visit another, as an Episcopal bishop, he would visit a congregation throughout the diocese and meet with the parishioners there and confirm. Mom prepared him. She knew the names of all the children, of all of the priests they were visiting, of the vestry. She knew where they went to school, when they were born, and she made sure that my father had that information as he was going into every visit. I'm not sure your memory is quite as strong now, Mom. But back then, we were all incredibly impressed with how much you knew and your focus on people. And the church was something that, obviously your faith was so important to you and Dad traveled all over the world, to Japan, to Palestine, to see the Christians there. And that church is something that I know is still today, whether it was All Saints in Tacoma or Trinity here, and I know that there are friends here from Trinity. It's always been a huge part of your life, and yet the church is something that exists in the world. And so if I had to make the 5th cake for you, I would think back to that pumpkin, and I would make it actually not in a pumpkin, I would make it in the shape of the world. Because that's the influence you have had. And there's a book that my mother and I share. It's called God Calling. It's a book of meditations. And there's a phrase that I read that always makes me think of you. And it's about changing the world. And I need to get my glasses out. Face your responsibilities. What is wrong in your country, its statesmen, its laws, its people? Think out quietly and make these matters your prayer matters. You will see lives you never touched altered, laws made at your request, evils banished. Live in a large sense. Live to serve and to save. You may never go beyond one room, and yet you may become one of the most powerful forces for good in your country, in your world. And that is how I see my mother. Today she spent quiet time in prayer. I know that she's concerned about everything, whether it's the orcas and the environment, whether it's peace in the Middle East, whether it's the homeless in Seattle. She is someone who is always trying to change the world. And you have certainly changed the lives of your sons through the influence you have had. You have, I'm sure, impacted the lives of the people here, and you are a quiet and powerful force for good in the world. You have been for 90 years. We love you, Mom. We bless you, and we offer you this birthday toast. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. Here's to Terry.
Here's to Terry.
All right.
Well, thank you so much.
And I didn't tell any stories about you falling off the back of the Jeep into the cow manure in Montana. I left that out. So Michael wanted to give that story up.
I thank you for everything you left out. And I said to myself that maybe he was going to get back at me for making him clean his room every Thank you.
All right, Mom.
Thank you, Steve.
I know, Michael. Thank you.
Well, there's still plenty of cake, and there's still plenty of coffee, and I think we might even still have a little bit of Prosecco left. And we have the room until 3 o'clock, but I would like to close the formal part of today's little ceremony and offer a prayer for my mom on her 90th birthday. And so, if you'd like to join me in prayer, I would be most grateful. Almighty God, our times are in your hand. Bless and sustain your servant Terry as she begins another year. We praise you and thank you for her life and her love for others as a wife, a mom, a grandmother, and a great-grandmother, and a faithful friend to so many. Thank you for her many years of loving service to your church and for her faithful witness to your love. Grant that Terry may continue to grow in wisdom and grace and strengthen her trust in your goodness all the days of her life. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. All right. Again, thank you all for coming, and stay as long as you
And
want.
if there are any Terry Cochran stories that you all have that you would like to share that we don't know, we would all be eager to hear them. So the floor is open.
For the next time.
Yeah.
This was exactly what Mom wanted to order for her appetizer.
Make a wish, Mom. Make a wish and blow it out.
That's right, you didn't get any candles at today's party, so this is your candle.
Yeah, I know there wasn't a candle.
Well, how do you do 90?
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
tough.
you
All right.
Put a big N, a big 9 and a 0.
Yay!
Oh, you make a wish? Oh, okay.
You didn't even hit that.
Mom, we love you so much, and we just wish that Dad had been there to celebrate with you.